The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed.
It is Cool Ray Hometown Heroes Night here in the Coast2Coast Racing League. I am Travis Pierceville, joined with John Hine, and Coast2Coast Racing Network welcomes you to our 305 Wing Sprint Division. John, we're back at Lucas Oil Speedway here on Wednesday night, and it should be another exciting night of action here, as it looks like we've got 10 cars currently out there on the track to kick off our Wednesday night program.
Yeah, it does, and good to be back in here in Missouri, a home state for me, and this is a fun little track here that's going to provide some big action here for tonight. So these guys are now pretty comfortable with the track. They know what they can get away with, what they can't get away with, so it's probably going to make the racing just a little more intense, to be honest with you.
And with our Tim Chapman Racing pre-race show, we'll take a look at that Hometown Heroes 305 Sprint point standings. Currently up atop the charts, it's Patrick Spangler. He has 1 win, 7 top 5s, 7 top 10s. He leads currently Randy Shreves, who's in second. Last week, Blake Chapman moved up for 1 spot. He's in third. He's grabbed 3 wins this fall, with Joseph Grandy and Jeffrey Barker rounding out your top 5. And really, those top 5 are names we see atop the charts each and every week, and they could easily pick up another victory here tonight, John. Any of those drivers stick out to you as the clear-cut favorite here in the 305 division?
You know, I like to say yes and sound real smart and say, okay, here's who's going to dominate. But these cars are so even, and you're almost hammered down. I think the winner is going to come for whoever gets a good qualifying spot, or actually, should I even say a good heat race spot? Because we invert the top 4 in the heat races, so that those winners of those heat races are going to put themselves in a real nice position to be on that front row for that feature. And they're, to be the truth be told, they're going to be in the catbird seat for whoever wins tonight.
Well, we saw it last Wednesday night too. The different divisions can bring people to the top. Obviously, a Blake Chapman, Randy Shreves, they both ran well, along with Patrick Spangler. But then as we progressed through the night, different guys kind of past others that maybe had them in some of these lower divisions that we have, or earlier divisions, I should say. And we should be able to see that again tonight. Looking back at the point standings, Roger Craig currently sits sixth, Brandon Dittmer in seventh. So some other guys down there that are looking to make a move up towards the top of the standings as well. Roger Craig, someone that stood out to me last week, that had a really good Wednesday night with us.
Yeah, and Roger is he's on the mend, and so if he's watching here, we'd like to say that we're thinking about you, Roger, and hope you are recovering. He had a procedure done here about a week or so ago, so I think he's going to be probably on the sidelines here for about another week or so. So we can't wait to see him back, but. Yeah, the thing is about the three different divisions. Well, you take the big blocks aside because that's a completely different car, completely different beast. But you've got these cars and then the 360s, and there is a significant power difference between the two, and that's kind of really, for these cars, what you do with your right foot's not going to be as important as what it will be when you're in that 360. So here you can kind of almost a little more hammer down. Maybe not quite, but you can be a lot more aggressive of how you drive this track in these cars.
So our practice session here to kick off our night of Coolray Hometown Heroes continues on. That's Andy Patton out on the track. Joe Canellis also out there on the track. Those are our two most laps completed here in this practice session. Currently waiting for ABR Setup Shop qualifying session to get underway. And as you mentioned, John, it doesn't necessarily help if you have a quick time there with those inverts in the heats. It really could put you at a disadvantage, especially as you get your placement for that feature race.
Especially in these cars where, there'll be a lot of tack on the track and everybody is going to be almost going the same speed. I mean, for those of you that are NASCAR fans, just think of restrictor plate racing. That's really what this is. Everybody's going to be kind of really jumbled on top of each other. It's going to be who is able to get and keep the best momentum. If you lose that momentum, you're probably going to go backwards pretty quick. So, usually the pole is pretty important, but making that invert and making it to where you're on the front row for these cars probably a little more important than even the 360s or the big blocks later tonight.
So practice continues here at Lucas Oil Speedway, waiting for our ABR Setup Shop qualifying session. We will then have our heat races and then complete this part of the program with a 30-lap feature event here for the 305s. And that will kick off our first third of our Coolray Hometown Heroes. As mentioned, we'll have the 360 sprints up next, and then we'll end with the big block modifieds. One guy that is consistently atop the charts and battling for wins each Wednesday night, John, is Patrick Spangler. Can you kind of talk about how good he is in these three different divisions we have on Wednesday night?
Yeah, Spangler's a wheelman. He is one of our best drivers in our main division, which is the Renegades on Monday night, which is the 360s, but they're open setups. And Patrick, man, I've been behind him. I've raced against him, and holy cow, that cat's fast. And it carries over for him in almost everything, even the big blocks. I know he didn't have the best of luck, I think, last week in the big blocks, but he knows how to get around in those cars. And Patrick's just one of those guys where, his brain is wired to his right foot, and, he's able to manage his throttle, be smooth, and he's consistent. I mean, this is a guy that, if you're behind, it's not a guy that you can wait and hope for a mistake and pounce, because if you're waiting around for him to make a mistake, that checkered flag, there's a good chance that checkered flag is going to fall before he does that.
So he currently sits atop our point standings here in the 305s. He's up 54 points over Randy Shreves. He has one win. Randy Shreves has two. Blake Chapman actually leads the fall series here with 3 victories. The 360s, Patrick leads the point standings pretty commanding, over a 100-point lead there, and 4 race victories this fall. So we'll see how Patrick attacks the night and see what he can do here on this Wednesday night here for Coolray Hometown Heroes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, if I'm hoping that this program moves along here pretty good tonight, because I'll tell you, looking at the skies, I'm hoping we're not going to be racing in the dark by the time the feature gets around here.
We were on the call last Thursday night, had a long night of racing there. Had 4 programs going, 3 programs here going tonight for Cool Ray Hometown Heroes as usual. And we have 11 cars here set to take on this track here in the 305 sprints at Lucas Oil Speedway. As our practice session comes to an end, that will shift us into our ABR Setup Shop qualifying session for the first time tonight. And it will be a all for one here qualifying session, so they will go out and hit the track at a quick and heavy pace.
Yeah, and the big thing is when you come out on the track here, you're going to come around and you're going to immediately take the green. So as you get out and go down the backstretch, you want to make sure that you're up as high as what you can be in turns 3 and 4 to make this front straightaway as long as you can. So you're carrying the most amount of speed that you possibly can, getting past the start finish line and down into turn 1, and then the rest of it is just a matter of keeping your momentum up and as close down to the tires as you can do and keep the momentum, the better off you'll do. So, I think the quicker line here is probably about a lane and a half, maybe up above those tires. But if you can take a wide enough angle and get down on those tires and not scrub that speed coming out of 4, boy, you're going to lay down a pretty good lap.
When you go to that inside down by those tires, you also have to try to avoid those ones. We've seen cars almost every week clip one of those tires at one point or another. Sometimes the leaders or sometimes drivers battling up for a win can really screw up your night. But you can see here, Joseph Grandy shooting to the top of the charts. Dan McLaren second. Joe Canellis rounds out your top 3 currently. Andy Patton here, 5th fastest first. Tries to improve his lap. He will not, as we have 3 more cars set to make their time.
Yeah, and if you look at this track, you look at both ends of it and both corners, and it looks like they're pretty similar. But I tell you, they drive completely different. Down on 1 and 2, you can be right out down on the tires and really not break your momentum. Where it's a lot more difficult down in 3 and 4, and a little bit later tonight, after you see it in the heat races and most likely in the feature, you're going to see guys down in 1 and 2 that are. Maybe some of them are up high or mid track, some will be on the bottom, but then you're going to look over in 3 and 4 and you're going to see guys running that top primarily, and that'll be the quicker way around. So like I said, a very unique track, even though they look the same on both ends. I promise you they don't drive the same.
And you can see as Randy Shreves pulls off the track how it flattens out there at the top of 1 and 2, especially going to pit road.
Yes.
Joseph Grandy will be your quick time here this Wednesday. Patrick Spangler, your points leader, will end up second fast, and as we mentioned, they will invert. So those two should start in that second row in each of their respectable heat races, as we have Dean Reynolds making his last chance effort here at a time. So Dean joining in tonight, getting out on the track. That'll be a dozen cars for us here at Lucas Oil Speedway. And his first time will be a 14.32, good enough for 12th quick.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to get around to complete that second lap here. Nope, he doesn't. And so he'll be at the back of heat race number 2, but not a big field, so he's going to have some opportunity once we get to the feature.
And with that, we will move on to our Langton Mechanical heat race number 1, John. And I think our starting lineup is ready to go.
They sure are. I see him up there and ready to go. On the pole is going to be the number 513. That's Jeffrey Barker. Outside the front row is going to be the number 56, so Randy Shreves. In the next row number 2, that's going to be the number 88, Dan McLaren to the inside. 518, our quick qualifier for the night. That's Joseph Grandy, going to start in position number 4. And in the final row here tonight is going to be the number 41 of Pat Boyce, and next to him will be the 033 of John Morano.
So they're out there behind our Stephen King Foundation pace car. And this heat here should set our lineup for that inside row of our 30-lap feature event tonight. The pace truck will pull on off of turn number 2. And the next time by, we will be green here with our 305 sprint car division. So our Cool Ray Hometown Heroes night will get underway here with our first heat race of the night. It's going to be Jeffrey Barker next to Randy Shreves making way through 3 and 4. Green flag will wave this time by 6 cars, 6 laps. And the starting lineup for inside row of our feature event is Barker will take the lead, but Shreves will make a move down the backstretch to the outside into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, the front row is still pretty well almost side to side now. You see Shreves get a little bit of an advantage here through 3 and 4. But and Grandy's going to follow him around there. So early on here, especially over in 3 and 4, that top side looks like that's the place to be.
Barker's able to slide up in front of McLaren. He'll get third in line. As now Shreves leads. Grandy will look to the inside. Almost made contact off of 2. That outside momentum will give Shreves the advantage, but they'll switch spots through 3 and 4.
Yeah, and Grandy's going to have a good run coming off of 4. Let's see if he tries to go to the bottom. But Shreves goes down there this time to kind of block it off a little bit. And that's going to give Shreves a decisive advantage coming out of turn 2.
2 laps to go this time by John. We saw it last week, really the cat and mouse game of picking what line you want to block. We saw it come down to the finish last week, and now it could come into play again tonight to see how you can slow down that momentum of that car behind you as the white flag waves.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, the funny thing is some guys I know watch their mirrors. Some guys, maybe have somebody spotting for them. But when you switch lanes and blocking, I promise you're just slowing yourself down. You really should be looking to see if, and to just commit and stay in a lane as they come flying across that start-finish line.
Randy Shreves will pick up the win. Joseph Grandy, who was running second, got into the wall off of turn number 4. And he'll go from starting in the second row of our feature to starting there towards the back in about row 5. So we'll see how that plays out in our feature event. But with that being said, we'll move on to our Magnum race design heat race number 2.
And on the pole for this one is going to be the number 787 of Andy Patton. Next to him will be the number 200 of Jeff Flero. Starting inside row number 2 is going to be the number 1. That's going to be Joe Canellis. Outside is going to be our second quick qualifier of the night. We talked about him a little bit earlier. That's the 39 of Patrick Spangler. Starting in the final row of this heat race, starting 5th and 6th. 5th will be the 34 of Gary Taylor, and 6th will be Dean Reynolds in the 790.
So heat race number 2. This will set the outside row for our feature event. Got to pay attention to our points leader Spangler starting there in row number 2. But Patton and Flero will definitely have something to say about letting him in front of them here in this heat race. Flero was someone that was really strong last week, John. And it'd be nice to see him put a Wednesday night together and grab a victory.
Yeah, Jeff is really good in these cars. He's up there. I'm going to assume he's got to be around Osh Weekend. I know it's in his car, but I do know he's Canadian and whatnot. So nice to see one of those boys come on down here to Missouri and throw some mud.
And they'll come out of turn number 4. We'll go to green here in heat race number 2. Flero to the outside. Ooh, they make contact going into 1 and 2. That'll stack them up on that outside row. Patton will be able to pull away down the backstretch as Canellis and Flero make contact going into turn number 3.
Yeah, Flero's really trying to hold those guys on the bottom and kind of pinch them down. And then when you do that, you kind of run a little bit of risk because you can't see, if you're that guy on the inside, you can't see the guy on the outside because of that wing. And I can tell you, I would be expecting Flero to be all the way to the top. And when you go in there and he's on your door, it's a surprise.
You saw he and Spangler came off of turn number 4. Spangler saved it after getting into that outside wall. As he and Flero continue to battle, Spangler will finally clear Flero, as now Flero's got Dean Reynolds all over the back of him, and Gary Taylor and Dean Reynolds will make contact in turn number 2.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell, but it almost had the look of Dean's car just started to over-rotate a little bit, and Gary had nowhere to go, and Gary's still sitting there on the track as these guys come around.
He'll back out of just the way of Spangler.
Good course of action.
Spangler closes the gap on Patton quick. He'll pull up beside him coming out of turn number 4 and lead it with the white flag waving.
Yeah, Spangler's just got that car wound up on the outside, keeping the momentum up, keeping the RPMs up, and just really flying out there right now.
He'll come through 3 and 4, and heat race number 2 goes to your points leader. It's Patrick Spangler with the heat win here at Lucas Oil. And with that, our field is set for our feature event. We will have our Flatline Racing Bodies intermission session, and then we will have our 30-lap feature event coming. You know, watching Patrick Spangler, our points leader, use that outside line to race to the heat victory there, John. If he's able to do that in the feature event, which he will start outside row number 1, it could be tough for anyone to move past him here in this 30 laps.
Well, I think whether he's starting on the inside or outside, it's going to be tough to move past to him once this thing starts. He's got an open track in front of him, and a guy like that, you give him that kind of track, everybody's going to have their work cut out for him, and it doesn't matter who is in this race or whatever the case might be. And not saying it can't be done, but yeah, they're gonna have to work for it here.
So plenty of cars out on the track here. Quick, 9 cars currently making laps in this intermission session. Under 2 minutes to go. Joseph Grandy, who was our quick time, again is at the top of the charts here in this practice session. Saw him get into the wall. That will force him to start towards the back of this feature event, but he's a guy to watch that could try to move up through. And we saw some wreckage last week, John, allowed a lot of guys to move up through the field, and maybe that's just enough. A late race caution could close it up where someone could make a move for a win.
Yeah, and why you see that here? The reason why you see that here is, you know, like I said, down in 3 and 4 drives different than 1 and 2, and if you can actually run the bottom here in 1 and 2 and make ground up, but then you want to cross the track coming out of 2 and set yourself up to run high in 3 and 4. Well, anytime you're crossing lanes, if you're not 100% sure where people are around you, that's how contact is made. And you know, I think it happens frequently here, and I think it's really, like I said, has to do with both ends just driving a little bit different.
So under a minute left to go. Grandy's still atop the charts. Good lap for McLaren as he was out there. But again, it will be all about momentum in this feature event. And it'll also be interesting to see what this track does. Does it allow for an inside line in one of the ends? We saw 1 and 2. Guys were really treating, like you mentioned, John, 1 and 2 completely different from 3 and 4. We see others that use the high line all the way around the track. Is it really driver preference, or does also what the car wants to do come into play for that?
It's both, because if you go down on 1 and 2 and run the cushion, you have to be a little more careful, because you mentioned earlier that where it levels off, and I like to call it the shelf. It's harder to keep the car off the shelf in 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4. On the corner entry to 3 and 4, I can be a lot more aggressive getting into that corner through the center of the corner than what I can in 1 and 2. So they drive a little different, but driver preference, you know, if you think you can rip that lip up there up top over 1 and 2, then, you know, we saw Spangler do it and it worked for him. If you're not comfortable with it, you got the bottom that you can always use.
Well, with that, they are starting to get lined up on the front stretch. It's going to be our 305 Sprint feature event here for Coolray Hometown Heroes, and our first feature of the night, John, and you've got our starting lineup.
Yes, sir. All right, out here on the pole is going to be the number 56 of Randy Shreves. Next to him will be the number 39 of Patrick Spangler. Inside second row is going to be the 88 of Dan McLaren. And next to him will be the number 87. That's going to be Andy Patton. Starting in the third row here in the fifth spot, it's going to be Pat Boyce. Outside that row, in the sixth spot, will be Jeff Flurrow on the 200. Starting seventh on the field today, inside that row is going to be the 513 of Jeff Barker. To his outside in position 8 will be the number 1 of Joe Canellis. Starting in the the fifth row, will be the 518, who we saw have just a little bit of trouble right there at the end of that heat race that he was in. That's the 518, Joseph Grandy, and rounding out your top 10 is going to be the number 34 of Gary Taylor, and then the next and final row will be the number 11, will be in the 11th spot will be the 33 of John Morano, and the 790 of Dean Reynolds.
So that is your starting lineup as the Steve King Foundation pace truck has pulled off. 30 laps around this Lucas Oil Speedway. It's Randy Shreves, Patrick Spangler leading us to green as they make their way down the front stretch. Green flag waves. 39 to Spangler will shoot to the front on that outside. He'll use that momentum, but Shreves is going to hold him off down the backstretch.
That's going to have Shreves in that preferred line, but there you go. Shreves was able to slide up in front of Spangler and break that momentum.
Spangler moves to the inside. He'll try to slide up. He won't move all the way up. That opens the door for Shreves to the outside. As Spangler now will make the slide move, but Shreves crosses him back over. Spangler gets into the wall coming out of turn number 4.
Yeah, Spangler really got aggressive with that slide job and almost went a little bit too far and really would have had some trouble there if he would have hit that wall any harder.
And that's the second time he's done that. He did it in the heat race as well. Thankfully for him, he's able to hold on as he'll try another slide drive on Shreves. This time he will complete it and move into the lead as they're going to come to lap number 5 this time.
And we got one upside down the backstretch there. Looks like that was Pat Boyce that went for a heck of a ride going almost into turn 4.
We'll bring up the replay. Oh, Barker and him had gotten into the wall there, pinching Boyce into the wall, and that opening left it possible for him to tumble into turn number 3.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of contact, and especially with these open wheels, you don't have fenders to protect not climbing over each other's tires there, and that's exactly what happened to Boyce, and tough start to his night here.
In this iRacing world, John, the way Spangler comes off a 4 and slides sideways into the wall like that, can that create any damage, or hitting it square like that, is it kind of the safest way to hit it coming out of there?
Yes. And it can cause damage, and yes, it might not cause damage. iRacing seems to be not consistent on what causes. I mean, if you hit it hard enough, obviously it will, but brushes like that, I've had times where, hey, it's all good, you can carry on. Then I've had times where I get to the next corner and it's like, uh-oh, it can't turn, and that's a problem. So good news for Spangler is he's going to know pretty quick here if he's got any damage.
So they will make their way around. Single file restart here. 4 laps complete. 30 laps make up this feature as Shreves bring us to green. He'll shoot out front as McLaren makes a move to the inside of Spangler through 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's a heck of a move by McLaren there, just right as that green flag fell and into turn 1.
Is that a move that you have to predetermine you're making, or can you watch and see if it comes to you by the time you get there?
No, you commit to doing it, and then you commit to finishing it about mid-corner. You know, you try to gauge what kind of run you had as opposed to what they had in there, and then hopefully you've got enough to slide up. I don't run mirrors, generally speaking, so I base a lot on moving up there on what I see and then what I hear as I'm moving up. You know, guys that run mirrors, they can glance up and see if they have the distance, and they'll know if they can do it or not.
As always, great race analysis by John Hine here on Wednesday night. That battle for second continues to John as Spangler finally slides up in front of McLaren. McLaren was able to hold him off for a while, but Spangler, as usual, really able as he's into the turn 4 wall again.
Yeah, and I was watching him do it too, and that right there where he's trying to slide across the track, it's slick all the way out to the outside groove now, almost past that shelf, and that's what keeps upsetting him. He gets over that shelf, the very end of that shelf, and he's just not able to get that drive off.
What is he trying to do with that? He's entering really low and then sliding across. This time he moves up to that outside after learning from that. What was he trying to do by that early entry and then exiting high off?
To carry as much speed as possible through the center, so he has a biggest amount of room when he pulls up in front of him. You know, so it kind of blunts the momentum a little bit, because you know when you do that, no matter what you do coming across like that, you know that you're scrubbing speed. That guy that ran that high side is always going to have better momentum than you are coming out of that corner. So the further ahead away, that takes away really, you know, how successful the crossover, and then whatever driver you do that to return the favor down on the next turn.
McLaren struggling currently. He's back to 5th now. Flero and Grandy were both able to get by him. Grandy up into 4th spot. He started 9th. So his fast car is definitely coming to life here with 16 laps to go. But out front currently by almost 3 seconds is that 56 of Randy Shreves. Really uncontested this green flag run as we're halfway. But Patrick Spangler in seconds trying to chase him down.
Yeah, he opened that gap while those guys were fussing over second place there. And you know what? He took advantage of it and drove away. And with these cars, like I said, running almost the same speeds, he needs a caution badly to have any prayer to catch him and do anything. And going back to McLaren here a little bit, he brushed the wall a couple times. And, you said, hey, is there damage or whatever? But he doesn't seem to have the same pace as what he did before that. And I'll be honest with you, it looked like Spangler hit the wall a lot harder than McLaren did, and he doesn't seem to have any ill effects, but McLaren's really lost the pace in that car, and he just barely sideswiped the wall.
So seeing what they can do, McLaren trying to fight back. Looks like he has the speed on the outside there. He's trying to chase down Andy Patton. That's for the 5th position. Move back into the top 5. Up front, it continues to be Randy Shreves. His lead is now stretched to over 3 seconds over Patrick Spangler. As really the front 3 are spread out. Jeff Flero leads that 3rd pack as he and Grandy continue to move up. They're trying to chase down Spangler for the 2nd position. Both Flero and Joseph Grandy moving on up. Grandy is up 5 spots and currently in position for our Chip Banger Racing Hard Charger Award.
Yeah, right now that's the best battle on the track. I mean, there's a little separation here, but I think that's really the most contested battle outside of towards the very, very back. But Spangler is kind of driven away from them a little bit. But now Flero kind of, from the eyeball test anyway, looks like Flero is starting to reel in Spangler a little bit.
The gap has appeared to close. It's currently about 7/10.
And I know they're in the back of the field, but man, the Gary Taylor, Dean Reynolds, Canellis, and Morano, I'm telling you, they are going at it like they're battling for this is entertaining.
Almost 3 wide as they go through 3 and 4. Dean Reynolds uses that outside run. Now he'll pull up beside the Canadian of Gary Taylor there as the caution will wave. Looks like Dan McLaren's night just got a little bit worse.
Yeah, and somebody is on their side there too. Oh, and that's Patton.
Ooh, McLaren got into that inside tire right in front of Patton.
Yeah, and Andy swerved to miss him and got up on that shelf, and that really upsets that car when you go up over that shelf. And he didn't hit the wall all that hard, but hit him hard enough to turn him over. Like I said, that just that's iRacing for you. And they build a great product. So, and anybody listening out there, I'm not bagging on that or not. It's just a virtual world, and sometimes things are a little quirky, but that's okay. These things are this whole service is a blast to drive, whether you're in a prototype LMP2 car, or whether you're in a dirt sprint car, an Indy car, an NASCAR, a Cup car, Xfinity car. These things, this whole service is just a lot of fun.
I will bag on that ambulance crew over there in turn 4. They just sat there watching as he sat on his side.
Yeah, he must be drinking from the same stuff that we see the flagman hit every now and again too. So, must have to be on the inside to get some of that good stuff, I guess.
Inside the walls.
That's right.
So
then again, they probably all got all kinds of good stuff in the back of that ambulance they could sample too, I suppose.
Exactly. Not even a stretcher back there.
Not to start rumors or anything, but.
Oh, we love the crew here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Yeah, we'll get a cease and desist order from iRacing not to talk about their safety crews.
Exactly. Well, we're back to green. 4 laps to go. Shreves, great restart for him. That battle for second, though, heats up quickly. Flero looking to the inside of Spangler through 3 and 4. He'll slide up across. They'll cross it back over. 3-car battle for second.
Yeah, and as those guys are battling for that second, those three cars, look again, all of a sudden, Shreves has stepped out a bit and has already got a little bit of a cushion with just a couple laps to go. That's, once again, I don't think that's a lead that's going to disappear.
2 laps to go as they sort it out for a moment. Flaro looks to the inside of Grandy. Spangler's able to separate as they go down the backstretch, but through 3 and 4 is going to be the 56 of Randy Shreves. White flag is out at Lucas Oil.
And Shreves has really driven a flawless race, so very, very well done job here. Well, we may have a battle for second, though. Nope.
Randy Shreves will win it. Patrick Spangler second. Joseph Grandy up 6 spots for a top 3 podium finish. And with that, our first feature of the night comes to an end. And John, we will speak to our top 3 finishers here in the 305 sprints in dominating fashion. It's going to be Randy Shreves, your winner here tonight at Coolray Hometown Heroes.
Yeah, like I said, Randy drove a absolutely flawless race, and that's a good way to start your Hometown Heroes night, that's for sure.
And with that, John, we will talk to our 3rd place finisher. You've got him. It's Joseph Grandy.
How you doing?
Hey, Joseph, how are you, man?
Yeah, not too bad.
Well, you had a little trouble in that heat race, but you come through the field pretty good here, especially for everybody being that close to power. You're able to make some moves and get up there and get on the podium here. Tell me how you got it done.
Yeah, in that heat race, instead of running in the back of Randy, I decided to hit the wall because I hit him enough yet last night. So, but I was pretty confident I would make my way through the field. I was hoping to get by Flaro a little quicker because I think I would have had something for Spangler too, especially after that caution. But I'll take a 3rd any day.
Well, the 360s are next, or do we expect to see you suited up and on track for that?
Yep, you'll see me in the 360s in the big blocks.
Well, then, what's your prospects, or how do you feel about the next round here, then?
I hope a top 3 in each of them, but we'll see.
Well, good job here for the first one. First check mark of the night done. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast and Coast2Coast Racing and all their sponsors that make everything possible.
Well, thank you very much, Joseph. Good luck for the rest of the night. Hopefully this ain't the last time we talk to you. That's Joseph Grandy, our 3rd place finisher in our 305 division here tonight.
Now joining us, it's our 2nd place finisher. It's Patrick Spangler. Patrick, you gave it all you had. Shreves was able to pull away on those restarts, and you had guys all over you pretty quick. What was the difference tonight in getting up to Shreves and battling for a win?
Just didn't feel very comfortable the first half of the race, and then right before that caution came out, like I found if I drove straighter in turn 3 and 4 that I was picking up time, and I was like a 10th faster than him in the previous lap, so I figured I might have a shot. And after the restart, Flaro and 3 and 4 threw a slider, and there's nothing really to catch you there, so I just had to wait for him to fly past me and then go underneath of him. But just didn't. Randy ran a good race today. Just had nothing for him.
We saw you having some issues coming through turn number 4, especially when you were sliding up towards the wall. What was the difference there tonight from maybe weeks in the past?
Kind of struggle usually in 305s. Usually Blake Chapman's just flying around here. I'm trying to learn from him, but 305s I just don't have a good handle on. Like just feels like a street stock with a wing. 360 is a lot more comfortable, and just trying to find what's keep momentum up and the RPMs up.
Well, it was still a good 305 finish for you today. You'll come home second. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just you for putting on the broadcast, Hein for helping me out up there. Guys for running a clean race. That may have been the least cautions we had in the Hometown Hero race. That was nice getting those long green flag runs. Triangle was racing, and Dad and Uncle back home watching.
Well, congratulations, Patrick. We will see you shortly in the 360s.
Yep, hopefully talk to you again.
Sounds good. Thanks, Patrick. And now joining John Hein from Coolray Victory Lane, it's going to be your winner tonight in the 305s. It's Randy Shreves.
Hey, Randy, this is John. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Well, you stunk the show up, man. You ran away from them and not challenged. So instead of me doing the usual, so tell me how you got it done or whatever, tell me a little bit about the track. Did you have any close calls through that, or was it just locked down and hammer down?
Well, the only challenge I really had was there at the beginning. Me and Patrick were kind of exchanging sliders. He actually took the lead from me there for a minute, and then luckily the caution came out, and then I knew on that second restart there I had to find something else. So I found a little something down there in 1 and 2 in about the middle, and I just kept running that about the whole race, and kind of walked away with it. And then that caution came out with 5 to go. I was scared then. I was like, man, somebody's gonna catch me then, and yeah, just kept running the same line, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, that second restart there, towards the end there, that they just decided to battle really hard for second place, and you just drove away there. But like I said, a flawless race, and tell me a little bit. I mentioned earlier about the two wins not driving the same. Could you take everybody into the seat and tell me from your viewpoint, maybe just what the little maybe nuanced differences between running 1 and 2 and running 3 and 4?
Uh, 1 and 2, I don't know. It's just you can't really hammer down too much in 1 and 2. You kind of gotta throttle it through there a little bit if you want to actually make it through straight. And 3 and 4, if you're up top, you can rip it. Um, yeah, that's pretty much about it. Just kind of throttle it through 1 and 2 there.
That's about what I covered. I was expecting to say something cool to make it even cooler than really what what it is. And they look the same. They look the same, and I think the banking's the same in both. I'm the same thing. I've easing it through 1 and 2, and then hammer down over in 3 and 4 up top, and I've yet to figure out why that is. But it's not surprising. A lot of tracks even though they look pretty similar, they drive different. So, but man, I tell you, like I said, a good start to your evening here. Are you planning on doing all three tonight, or just two, or one, or what's your plans the rest of the night?
Uh, More than likely, I'm probably gonna do all three. I don't know. I just love running this league, so I'll probably hop in all of them.
Well, I tell you, your next one now, 360. What does that change for you, mindset wise? Are you gonna maybe look to run somewhere different, or you thinking that line that you found is just gonna be the way to go?
I don't know. I'm thinking that it probably will be a little different here in the 360. It might be more toward the top there at the end, but you never know. The top could wear off, and we could be throttling it the whole way through the bottom. But
Well, my
either way, I want to be chasing Patrick, I believe. So we'll see.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest. That's what I thought this one too. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you had a 3-second lead. So don't count yourself out, man. You can get her done. You're plenty quick. So, hey, I tell you, you've won the first one here. The floor is yours. Who would you like to thank?
I definitely want to thank my team, LGR Motorsports, Coulter West at Redline Race Designs for always making my car look awesome. One Wish Foundation, Wraps and Stitches, KSB Builders, Finish Line Repair, Coast to Coast for putting on this league, the Dirt Track Bank, Got Your Six Racing Network, Extreme E-Speed TV for the broadcast, all the admins, and everybody for watching.
Well, congratulations again on the first win of the night. Hopefully, we'll see you back in victory lane here before the night's out.
I hope so.
Well, thank you very much, and hopefully we talk to you a little later, Randy. That is Randy Shreves, the big winner in the 305 division here tonight.
So the 305 sprint division comes to an end. That means we'll move on to our 360 sprints here at Coolray Hometown Heroes Night on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the 360s out here on the track. I'm Travis Piercefield, joined by John Hine, and we will be back after this quick break.
Good day, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about Movember. So Movember was started in 2003 in Australia and has become worldwide. For those unfamiliar, Movember is all about awareness of health issues for men. So a lot of men grow mustaches in Movember. That's where the name came from. And just so you know, I plan on celebrating Movember by having my prostate hocked out. So first of all, the prognosis is good because of early detection. So, and as a result of that, I have decided to declare myself the Coast2Coast Racing League Movember poster child for 2022. On a more serious note here, the average age of our league is 41. So if you're on the top side of that, you need to get tested regularly. I'm talking PSA tests, the rubber glove, 2 seconds of discomfort for maybe a lifetime of living. Also, colonoscopies, every 5 or 10 years or whatever your doctor recommends, but you need to get those done. So just reminding everybody, it's something men aren't comfortable talking about or doing. Everybody thinks they're a tough guy. Let's go out and get tested for the sake of yourself, but more importantly, for the sake of your family. And, as they say, the life you save may be your own. So we're all in this together, guys. Reach out. You can reach out to me, or more importantly, reach out to your doctor. And in closing, I just want to, I want to know if Marty Sakala is going to grow a mustache for Movember.
In our industry.
The lifetime parts and labor warranty is pretty awesome. Basically, all the parts are covered, the labor and everything.
When we say lifetime, we mean lifetime, and is supported with money-back guarantees. And with that, you're getting all qualified technicians that are going to ensure that this job is done perfectly and operates perfectly throughout the life of the unit.
Learn more about our Coolray lifetime parts and labor warranty at Coolray.com. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Welcome back to Coolray Hometown Heroes. We're back at Lucas Oil Speedway. It's the 360 Sprint. They are out having practice session here as we've moved on from the 305s. We talk about it each and every week, John. The 360s, the power they have, but also the difference in driving. Patrick Spangler is someone that's dominated this series here this fall. He currently has 4 victories, but 4 victories and is our points leader. But our 305 winner, Randy Shreves, he has a win this fall and is looking to try to go 2 for 2 here early. But we will see who pops up to the front. 16 cars out on the track. Looking at the names here, Donovan Ross is somebody that stands out as well. Who's kind of an outlier that wouldn't surprise you up battling for a win tonight, John?
Well, I'm going to go with, he hasn't turned into time yet, but Tyler Wilson will be a guy to watch. Aiden Young, my teammate. I'm not saying that just because he's a teammate, but he's won Renegade races. He's got a ton of wins here in C2C. He's a guy to keep an eye out. Donovan, we call him Devo, but he'll be a guy to watch. And of course, you're what I would call the big ones here. that we just got done watching, with Spangler and Shreves. I think those two guys are going to be up at the top again too.
Well, it looks like practice session is coming to an end. That will move us into our ABR setup shop qualifying session here for the 360s as they will get out on the track. And just like the 305s, we will invert for the heat races. And we will see who sits atop the charts here with quick time as they all make their way out on the track. Donovan Ross is one of them out there early in that 5 machine. And of course, over to the left, the times will populate as they complete their laps. As we have all but 5 cars out there here fast here for that first lap. As you see, Patrick Spangler, our points leader, shoot to the top of the charts. A 12.94 for him. Joe Canellis currently sits second fast.
Good lap there by Spangler, and Tyler Wilson's up there as is Aiden Young, Devo. Grandy is kind of towards the top there. So, and there's not a whole lot of time separating them here. We got looks like 4 or 5, maybe even 5 guys. That 6 guys might end up being all within a tenth of each other. That's not a whole lot of time before we're said and done here. If we can get one more up there, currently 5, all in the 12.9s. Yeah, that's hauling the mail around this little track.
So we have 3 guys yet to make times. Now 2.
Now we got 6.
Brian Dickens shoots to the top of the charts. Really good lap for him, John.
Yeah, they might need to see him in tech to make sure he didn't slip a 410 in their motor in there before qualifying. Yeah, he went even quicker on his second lap, 12.85. So he's the only guy in the 12.8s. He's almost a tenth quicker than Patrick. Great lap for Brian there. Yeah, he's got to be tickled about that run there, and it's a pretty big marker to lay down.
Great lap for Dickens. Andy Patton's the only driver not making a time as it will wrap up, and Brian Dickens will be your quick time. We, of course, will invert for the heat races, and as we move on to those heat races, as usual, we will start with our Langton Mechanical heat race number 1, John, and you've got our starting lineup.
Sure do. On the pole is going to be number 69. That is going to be Aiden Young out to his outside there. And the number 2 spot is going to be the 518 of Joseph Grandy. Starting in the second row is going to be the number 1. That's going to be Joe Canellis. Next to him will be the quick time tonight. That is Brian Dickens in his 122 machine. Starting 5th in the inside of row number 3 is going to be the 200 of Jeff Flero. To his outside will be Donovan Ross. And then the final row here tonight, row 4 for this first heat race is going to be number 34 of Gary Taylor. And his outside will be the 119 of Willie Howells.
So they will start to roll off. They, of course, will follow our Steve King Foundation pace truck, who will pull off of turn number 2. Can't remember, John, if it was Wednesday or Thursday last week. Aiden Young had a great night. I think it was Wednesday. Came away with a couple podium finishes. And he will look to repeat again tonight here in his 69 machine, starting on that front row.
Yeah, Aiden's quick in about anything. He's either up towards the top 5 in most of his races, or he has some bad luck and might have an incident or something like that. You don't see him outside that top 5, and definitely not outside that top 10 too often.
He, of course, carries the Extreme E Speed colors on the front of his 69 machine there, as he's got Grandy to his outside. Our fast time of Dickens, he starts outside row number 2. And we will get back to racing action here with our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. 6 laps, 8 cars. And we will set the lineup for that feature event here in the 360s. They'll come out of turn number 4. Aiden Young will lead us to green. Green flag waves. Grandy has a good start on that outside line. He should have momentum coming out of turn number 2. But Aiden Young battles back on that inside going into 3.
Oh, and Aiden got way out of control there. I don't know if he hit that tire or something. That car just jumped out from under him.
It looked like it just cut left and got sideways right in front of the field as Joe Canellis will take advantage. He's got a 2-second lead. And now Jeff Flero, Joseph Grandy will battle for that second position.
Yeah, I'm going back and taking a look at Aiden's deal here just real fast here to see if he did, because he got really close. No, he Yeah, that's on Aiden. He made a little jerk of that wheel there and tried to keep himself off of the guy that was outside, and it upset the car. And well, he wadded up almost the whole field.
So with
I've been there and done that, so I know his pain. I think I did it at Cedar Lake in a late model. Got down to turn 1 and right past where we took the green flag to start a heat race, and I literally wiped everybody out. So I can relate.
Well, Joe Canellis takes advantage. He's leading now on our final lap. He will race to victory. Behind him, 3-car battle there for second through fourth. Jeff Flaro will take second. Joseph Grandy third, and our quick time Brian Dickens will come home fourth in our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. And as they pull on off the racing surface, we will switch on over to our heat race number 2. Heat race number 2, as usual, presented by Magnum Race Design. 8 more cars in this, John, and they are going to line up like this.
Yeah, on the front row is a good one here. 56 of Randy Shreves, who we just saw park in Victory Lane. One of my dark horses, and I don't even want to call him a dark horse. He's fast all the time here. Is a 042 of Tyler Wilson. Starting in that second row is going to be the number 7 of Bob DeGood. And then another one of our guys we usually see up front here is going to be the 39 of Patrick Spangler. He'll start fourth. Starting fifth will be the 88 of Dan McLaren. To his outside will be the 513 of Jeff Barker. And the final row here for this heat is going to be the 28 of Jeff Sharp and the 87 of Andy Patton.
So we will get heat race number 2 underway. As the Stephen King Foundation pace truck will make a lap around the track, pull on off over turn number 2 there. As up front, it's going to be Randy Shreves. He was our 305 winner tonight. Looking to claim victory here in our 360 division presented by the Salty Dogs Racing Team. We have reported that the Salty Dogs Racing Team and John Hine have come to terms and understanding now after some comments made by John a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. See, I'm a pre-tread, so I'll be joining them in the old man section of the league here before too long. So look forward to it, and those guys just have so much fun, and they are a good group of guys.
So our Salty Dogs 360 series is underway here. Heat race number 2. Shreves able to hold off Wilson here early as he's got Spangler right behind him. Shreves about a half a line down as he will make contact. A mess coming out of turn 4 for that first lap.
Yeah, and that's really going to hurt McLaren and looks like Spangler too and Wilson. So those are, some really top-notch guys that are now going to be behind the 8 ball here once we get to the A-main. And Shreves, once again, guys get to doing stuff behind him, and there he goes. He's off.
Well, it looked like Shreves, he was about a half a lane down going into turn number 3. And then once they got to turn number 4, he was up in front of them. And it's almost like his momentum paused just for a moment that they got stacked up.
Yeah, and, it's tough to assign that on blame on one driver, because when you do come across, even in the tack, you're going to slow down more than what normal. And, to make a slider work, it often takes 2 drivers to have an understanding to get it done. One guy's got to know you got a guy coming across. The other guy's got to know, okay, I either got to lift and let him up there, or I've got to cross him over as Shreves takes a checker flag there. And if you don't want to lift, those are the kind of things that can happen. And you don't have to lift. It's your prerogative not to, and sometimes that just kind of happens.
And I wasn't trying to blame Shreves there. Don't want that.
No, not at all. But I'm just talking for a casual viewer. If they look at it and think, well, you came across. Well, if someone's coming across, and it, like I said, it takes 2 to dance a lot of the times, and it's tough to put it on anybody. You really can't. As we get ready to warm up, I can elaborate a little bit longer, I guess, on that. But if I'm in a car and I know and I can hear someone and I can hear that they go away, there's a sound that it emits for me. Not running a mirror. that I know that they're going to the bottom. And if they do, I'm prepared for it. Or even if I'm like on a restart and I want the top, I know that somebody going down there trying to slide job is a possibility. So you just kind of got to be ready for it. And then as a driver, you got to make a decision here. Okay, are you going to lift, or are you going to cross them over, or whatever? And like I said, the prerogative is yours. You got the right to do wherever. The only thing that the guy, and I think Shreves did this, is leave that guy options. Either to make that choice. It's when you slide up in front of somebody and they don't have any choice but to hit you. They don't have the time to lift. They don't have they're not in a position to cross you over without wrecking. Then you can kind of pin that on the guy that throws a slide job. But if you get in there and you throw it, and the guy has the option, even if it's for a split second and a half, then it becomes a mutual thing. At least my definition. Now, you could go through the pit area here and ask guys a definition of what a clean slide job and you're going to get a different couple opinions. I know even Spees and I, her teammates, differ on what a perfectly clean slide job and etiquette and everything else. And John Short and I, who we ran the review committee for the longest time together, we differed a little bit on that too. So that's just my point of view. And other guys can have different points of view, and that's okay.
Well, with that contact that was made there in heat race number 2, Tyler Wilson and Spangler have 2 fast cars, so it is going to be fun watching them trying to move up through that field.
Yes.
And try to get back up there and battle for a feature victory.
Yes, and you know what? And they probably got a little chip on their shoulder, because anything like that happens to me and I become kind of an old grouch or whatever, I tend to go a little faster. So, when you drive angry, it might give you a half a tenth, maybe even a full tenth if you're ticked enough, maybe.
Well, we are about to find out, as we have less than 15 seconds left here in our Flatline Racing Bodies intermission, as our 360 sprints presented by Salty Dogs Racing Team continues here on Coolray Hometown Heroes. As our intermission session wraps on up, they will exit the track. The flagman waves that checkered flag on this session, and we are about to get lined up 16 cars deep here for our feature event. 30 laps around Lucas Oil Speedway, John. And it looks like cars are out on the track and starting to grid and get ready for their starting lineup.
On the pole he's going to be in the first spot. It's car number 1. He's not only number 1 in the program, he's number 1 on the track, and I know somebody out there is number 1 in their heart. We'll just say, who let the dogs out and all that business out there, and not saying who's heart letting the dogs out, but that's their business there. But that is Joe Canellis. I can't remember his girlfriend or wife's name. I'd love to remember, but I'd give her a shout out if she's watching. But next to him is going to be the number 56 to Randy Shreves. Inside the second row is going to be the 200 of Jeff Flero, and outside is going to be the 513 of Jeff Barker. Starting in the 5th spot is going to be Joseph Grandy. To his outside will be will be Bob DeGood. Starting 7th will be Brian Dickens, and then next to him is Andy Patton. Next row is going to contain Gary Taylor and Jeff Sharp. Following those guys will be Willie Howells and Patrick Spangler. Starting 13th here is going to be the number 69. That's Aiden Young. To his outside is going to be Tyler Wilson. And in the final row, you're going to have Donovan Ross and Dan McLaren. And I'm going to tell you, the last 4-5 names are all guys that could possibly win this. Holy cow, this is going to be something to watch.
So up front, Joe Canellis, Randy Shreves. Randy, of course, already picked up 1 feature win here tonight in the 305s. But as you mentioned, there's some cars back in this pack that are going to be hungry to get up front. And it is about to get underway. Green flag will wave this time by Joe Canellis, Randy Shreves. Great start by Randy Shreves as he will drive to the front through 1 and 2. Canellis will try to fight back down the backstretch, and Jeff Flero in that 200 machine makes a move for second through 3 and 4.
Oh, we got contact and a big stack up right at the start-finish line. Jeff Parker's in back, and I'm not seeing a caution. Evidently, the flagman is now drinking what the pace or not the pace truck, but the ambulance crew is drinking. Here's our caution.
As we see the end of that, it looked like Jeff Barker was a part of it at the beginning.
Yeah, and Brian Dickens. It looked like they were trying to fit 3 cars into 2 lanes, and that's not going to work very well. Yeah, Brian Dickens was coming up the track and clipped the front of Grandy's car, and then into into Barker's, and then oh my gosh, big pile up.
Big pile up as flagman a little slow on that draw, but it does come out. Our first caution of the night. Our first Mission 22 restart here for the 360s. And just like the 305s, John, Shreves was very quick to jump out and into the lead there through 1 and 2 as he was looking to complete that lap.
Yeah, and he man, that was a big pile up. I can't believe how long it took him to throw that caution, though. I'm just sitting there kind of dumbfounded about that.
And a quick caution at that in terms of laps here in this 360s. We saw a couple good green flag runs with the 305s as we're about to go back to green flag action. Mission 22 restart is underway. Shreves will shoot out like a cannon as they go into turns number 1 and 2. Flaro and Canellis battle for that second position behind him down the backstretch. Flaro looks to take that spot over through 3 and 4. He'll try to keep that momentum, and he will hold on to it as now Canellis tries to fight back. And very quickly, John, Patrick Spangler's moved on up 3 spots. He's now into the top 10, as is Tyler Wilson right behind him. They're making quick work moving up through this field.
Yeah, and when I gave the lineup, Joe Canellis, I think the number 1 in the heart, I think her name is, God, I'm going to be awful if I get this wrong, but I think it's Tracy. And she's the owner of To Let the Dogs Out, I believe. So that's who I was thinking of, and it was bothering me. And I think it just came to me, and I think that's what I remember. I could be wrong, but I hope not.
I was thinking, especially
I'll get a PM if I'm not. I hope set me straight.
I was thinking, John, remember back in the 90s, the Home Improvement show when Tim Allen would say something and then Al would put up the address? I feel like I need one of those for you.
Yes. And it looked like Gary Taylor had some problems there coming out of turn 4 here for our latest caution. Looks like Gary and maybe Aiden Young here.
Watching as Aiden Young comes up on this. Ooh, Gary had gotten into that outside wall. Nowhere for Aiden to go.
No, and unfortunately, they're both upside down, and you're going to have to take a tow here, and that's going to kind of kill their chances here a little bit.
So if you are offended at all, please send letters to
Coast2Coast
Racing League.
Care of John.
Care of John Hine. P.O. Box 1678 in St. Louis, Missouri.
Just PM Roger. Just PM Roger. He's the one that lets me on every week, so it's his fault. But no, Joe's a really, really cool guy. I got to know him a little bit a while back. Running some laps with him privately, and really, really cool guy. And he had a post on Facebook the other day where he's got this long goatee, and I don't remember the colors, but he colored them up for the holidays, I presume, or November or whatever it was. So very cool guy. And if I got it wrong, Joe, you can just PM me, and I'll be happy to put an on-air apologies. I mean, he's another salty dog guy, so it's just gonna be my weekly thing is apologizing to one of those guys. I think that's what it'll come down to.
I love it. Well, you can offend someone new and then apologize to the previous week.
That's right.
As we come out of turn number 4, it's another Mission 22 restart for Randy Shreves. 22 laps to go here in this feature event for the 360s.
McLaren hit the tire at 1, 3, and 4, or 1 and 2. Sorry.
And we'll watch it from the start, the 88 of Dan McLaren there.
Yeah, just tags that tire.
Looked like he was following Spangler through 1 and 2 there, and then when they got to that second tire, he was just about a half a lane lower than what Spangler was.
Yeah, and what it actually kind of almost looked like, and I could be wrong, but it almost looked like he was kind of coming up on Spangler a little bit quicker than what he anticipated, and either lifted or he dragged the brake just a little bit, and it turned the car more at the tire than what he was probably initially expecting to do there, and unfortunately for him, it just kind of caught it and really shot him back up across the track.
So 21 laps to go when we return.
So while I'm at it, I wonder anybody else I can offend here. Let's see. Looking through the field. Roger's not here. I can't pick on him. Plus, he's recovering from a surgery, so I can't mess with him now. But anyway, I tell you, the track is, I think, more slick than what it was previously. So these guys are going to have to work a little harder, having that extra power. So it's going to be easier to spin these tires, but they're going to be on more of a razor's edge to get around these corners because it definitely looks that slick track is higher up in the corners than what it was for the 305s.
So we'll see it continuously change here. 21 laps to go. Randy Shreves uses that control position to shoot on out to the lead again. He's got Jeff Flair, Brian Dickens, and Joe Canellis behind him now. As Dickens looks to the inside of Flaro, they close that gap on Shreves as there's racing throughout the pack. Not to mention Spangler, who's up to 8th now up to 7th as he moves past Andy Patton.
Yeah, he is trying to. Oh, and he just got touched there by Devo. Just a very, very slight touch, and around Spangler went.
So we were watching that one live as it happened.
I don't know if they're going to get their places back. Spangler's coming back up through the field, but yeah, looking back at that, boy, that was ever so slight a contact. Yeah, he just hit him right in that Nerf bar on the side. Just hit him perfectly there. He's just carrying a lot more steam. Donovan was through the corner there and kind of caught him. I think Patrick might have scrubbed some there trying to turn down a little bit. And oh man, that's tough. But Spangler's lining back up in 8th, so I kind of wonder if maybe they're going to call it on 5 of Donovan there.
And it looks like Spangler's not going to give up that spot as we.
No, but Donovan is out back. So I mean, iRacing, it's unlike the real world track where everybody involved in the incident will just go back. We would have seen both cars get thrown to the back, but Donovan's out back, so it looks like they put the caution on him.
So we have 19 laps to go as we go back to green, our Mission 22 restart. Shreves continues the lead. He's got Jeff Flaro behind him, Brian Dickens, as Joe Canellis, our pole starter, has fallen back to the 4th spot. Joseph Grandy currently runs in that top 5 as Patrick Spangler moves up, battling for Patton, slid into the 7th spot for a moment, but gives it back as he gets stuck behind the Willie Howells car, and his momentum will slow down. They're 3 wide coming out of 2.
Yeah, and I think there's contact in the back. There's a couple things of contact. Gary Taylor went up into the wall and has got some big damage. I think he lifted and Donovan got into the back of him. But over in turn 2, I think Jeff Sharp got turned around there right in turn 2.
Take a look at what happened to Jeff Sharp this
Tyler Wilson was running the bottom and just kind of came up a little bit, and I think Jeff had maybe someone to his outside and couldn't go all the way up the track. And because he had Barker out there, was probably hesitant to walk up the track, and probably Tyler probably didn't realize that, or probably expected him to move out a little bit quicker and move out a little bit further, and just barely tapped him, and we're under caution again.
Looked like Bob DeGood got it caught up in that as well as he came through. Our fifth caution of the night.
I sure hope Gary Taylor, I don't know if he listens to the broadcast, but he needs to pit immediately. That car is not going to go through the corners when we go back to speed very well. Yep, there he goes.
He heard you as...
Yeah, I guess so. And
he has issues getting into the pit with it.
Yeah, that car was not going straight. I can't even imagine what that steering wheel, where that top of that steering wheel was pointed to make that car go straight.
So 17 laps to go as the green flag comes out. Brian Dickens, a great restart there for that Mission 22 restart. Stays up on the back of Shreves. And now for the first time here in a while, Shreves has cars right behind him looking to battle him for the lead. They're 4 wide in the back, including Patrick Spangler. That's for the 6th position.
Yeah, Patrick's coming up. He's dicing, and about halfway through here, he's definitely worked up through the pack. Tyler Wilson's not too far behind him coming through. These guys are just exclusively working the bottom, and I think we have more issues. Looks like Andy Patton went up and over there in turn 1.
I saw coming out of turn number 4, Patton and Wilson got together.
Yeah, it looked like Andy got a little loose coming out of the corner and had to kind of maybe walk it down the track a little to catch it. And when he did, they made contact, and that upset Andy's entrance into turn 1 there. And yeah, poor Aiden. Aiden Young, man, that kid. Luck is not on his side tonight.
So we will have 14 laps to go when we go back to action. John, I have received confirmation. His girlfriend's name is Tracy.
Yes.
So you're in the clear there.
Good deal. See ya. The mine may not be completely going yet. I mean, it's somewhat going, but not completely. So, Tracy, we hope you're watching. And Joe had was on the poll here for the feature, and I hope she is the owner or manager or whatever who let the dogs out. So, give them a plug there too. So, okay. I feel like I dodged a bullet here.
That was a good one. I was worried for a moment.
I've been worried, but the name just kind of was. I was sitting there thinking about it, and it was kind of one of those because it was bothering me. It's like I know the name, and it was like it felt like it was on the tip of my tongue, so I just said it. And if I was wrong, that could have been ugly.
John is safe for now as we have another Mission 22 restart. 14 laps to go here in the 360s. Randy Shreves continues the lead. He's got Brian Dickens, Jeff Laro, and Joseph Grandy behind him as Patrick Spangler now moves into the top 4. He started 12th and currently with 8 gained spots is in position for our Chip Banger Racing Hard Charger Award here with the 360s.
Yeah, and Spangler's almost up to a podium here, but I'll tell you, the further up you get, the harder it's going to be to pass. He's got some pretty stout drivers here right in front of him. Jeff Flaro's, he's working them right now, and then our quick time for the night, guy that set quick time back in qualifying, Brian Dickens, there's in second. So it looks like Spangler's got third.
He moves to the inside of Flaro. Flaro battles back. He'll try to gain something through 1 and 2, but it's just too much Spangler to the inside, as now he tries to chase down Dickens, who currently rides in second. 10 laps to go this time by.
Tell you, if there's another caution, this race is going to get real interesting.
Spangler now working the inside of Dickens, really making that inside line work for him.
And there you go. Caution on the track.
And it looks like it's going to be Andy Patton again. See what happened to his 87 machine. Ooh, inside tire of turn number 2.
Well, the tires are still undefeated.
So, John, you go from possibly offending to someone, to becoming
Yeah.
Nostradamus with your.
You know, and I was sitting here thinking, man, I tell you, Joe will get done racing, and if I had the name wrong, I could see whoever it was saying, "Who's Tracy?" And you know, and Joe, all he'd have to say is, "Look, that guy's a blowhard. He talks faster than he drives, so you know, take it with a grain of salt." So glad we don't have to go down that route.
Well, you called it too with the caution, so we will go back to green. 9 laps to go, and our points leader, Patrick Spangler, is now in the top 3. And he's going to look to see if he can beat out Shreves here, which he was unable to do in the 305s. But we're going to have a 9-lap shootout to the finish.
Yeah, we are, and it's gonna. I got a feeling it's gonna be a pretty wild last 9 laps here.
So our Mission 22 restart is underway. Good start for Shreves there. He's able to separate from Dickens as they go into 1 and 2. And Spangler quickly looks to the inside of Dickens through 1 and 2.
Yeah, and Spangler's up top, or those guys are on the bottom here. Spangler's gonna have a big run down the straightaway. See if he has anywhere to go down here. He's lower than what Dickens is, and I think he's gonna get a good launch here. Yep, he does. He grabbed that tack at the bottom of the track and launched himself out of turn 2 here, and he's going to take over second, I do believe, here coming out of 2.
Dickens will battle back. He'll stay up alongside of him. And Shreves has got to love this side-by-side action behind him, but now Spangler's able to clear Dickens, and now he's right on the tail of Shreves through 1 and 2 with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, he is, and he's already got up next to him here, and man, you just got to take your hat off. What a drive by the 39 there of Patrick Spangler.
And makes quick work of Shreves as he's already cleared him, started to separate from him. He's coming to 4 laps to go at the line this time by, as Flero is now trying to get back into the top 4 as he battles Tyler Wilson.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I hate guys like that can run the bottom that good, because I wish I could do it. I just cannot do it as well as... Shreves has a little bit of a bobble, and he's going to give up second there and fall back to third.
So Dickens will move into second. Spangler leads now as Shreves tries to regain his momentum. Tyler Wilson also up 10 spots, currently running fourth, trying to get a podium finish as he closes in on Shreves. They go around the lap car of Aiden Young, but out front by over a second is the 39 of Patrick Spangler. White flag waves as our points leader looks to pick up another 360 fall win.
Yeah, he does. Once he grabbed a hold of that lead, he kind of checked out a little bit. The battle's going to be coming for second here. Dickens has it, and I know Shreves wants it, but it looks like it's going to be Dickens hanging on to second with Shreves coming home third.
So your 360 sprint presented by Salty Dogs Racing Team. Victory will go to Patrick Spangler. Second, Brian Dickens. Third, Randy Shreves. They will pull into Coolray Victory Lane. And we will have your top 3 finishers here shortly as Spangler was able to get past Shreves here. Shreves picked up the 305 victory. And they will join us here on the broadcast momentarily.
Yeah, good race there. And like I said, you got to take your hats off to Spangler there. He got it done. And I tell you what was even more impressive about it is he did it on the bottom, and to be patient like that lap after lap is just incredible. Like I said, I hate guys like that, and not that I dislike them personally. It's just, man, I wish I could do that, and I can't. Some guys just have such a knack at doing that and are so quick. Brennan Lacey's another one that does it, and it just jealous, just completely jealous.
Well, it looks like we have our third place finisher, John. It is the 56 of Randy Shreves.
Yeah, Randy, this is John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got John.
Well, I knew I wouldn't be too long before I was talking to you again, and I know to go that far and not get the W probably stings a little bit, but you still come home on the podium here. So all in all, a good points night. At the end there, was it a matter of just losing the handle on the track, or the car just changed not to suit your driving style? What more did you need to kind of hang on there?
I I don't know. I need to handle it on the bottom a little better. Patrick was just a little better on the bottom there, and I don't know. He kind of got a little wiggly. I had to check up, and that allowed Brian to get by me there. But I don't know. I'm glad I just kept in third.
Well, you drove a flawless race up to that point, and like I said, I know it's not exactly where you wanted to finish and whatnot, and but you've had a really good night here, and now it's you've gone 2 for 2 as far as podiums here. Can you make it 3 to 3 in the big block?
I'm hoping so. I know last week I had a little bad luck, but I brought the wrong car with me. I had the 358 instead of the big block, so I'll make sure to bring the right car this time.
What is your just real quick? What is your biggest challenge now, jumping out of the 360 and having run sprints the first 2 races, and now jumping into a big block because the cars are pretty different in how they handle and react, and how you have to work them in traffic. What do you find to be the biggest challenge jumping between the two?
Uh, for sure, there's definitely a big difference between the two. One's just the sprint car. It's just I don't know. It's more my style. I can be more on the throttle with that, and with them big blocks, they're kind of overpowered and really easy to get sideways there. So you kind of got to be easy on the throttle, and yeah, it's definitely a big difference though. It's
Oh,
kind of hard
awesome.
to explain, but it's yeah, it's just
Yeah.
very different.
Well, yeah, I've driven them both, and again, I'm always looking for explanation because you explained about how I would have, and I never know how to word it either. So hey, no worries there. But once again, man, you got the floor. Who would you like to thank?
As always, I want to thank my team, LGR Motorsports, Coulter West at Redline Race Design, One Wish Foundation, Wraps and Stitches, KSB Builders, Finish Line Repair, Coast to Coast putting on the league, Extreme E-Speed for the broadcast, and everybody for watching.
Well, congratulations again, my friend. We'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, we talk to you for a third time tonight.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, John.
Yep, not a problem. That's Patrick Spangler, our third place finisher here in the 360s here.
Now moving on to our second place finisher, it's Brian Dickens. Brian, you rode behind Shreves, then eventually fell back into that second spot behind Patrick Spangler. What was the difference between getting up there and battling for a victory and moving into that first position?
Oh, just waiting for the right opportunity to get by. Everybody's just so close and such good drivers up front. It's hard to make a move, especially on that really slick track.
We watched early, you had tons of opportunities there with those Mission 22 restarts. Was there anything you could have done to move up into that spot behind the 56 and maybe had a chance? Were you hoping that maybe you had a longer green flag run at any time?
Actually, no. I'm ready for the short runs myself. But no, all that worked out good for me. I'm happy with a second place finish tonight.
Well, a great podium finish for you. Will you be with us for the big blocks here coming up next?
Nah, I'm probably done for the night, man.
Well, it was a great run here in the 360s. Brian, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I gotta thanks to guys at Hammer Down Racing. Those guys are like family to me. Kurt, Brandon, and Joe. The Dirt Track Bank, Got Your Six Racing Network, and come join us for Friday Night Lights. Be glad to have you.
Well, great finish, Brian. We hope to talk to you again here soon. That's your second place finisher, the 122 of Brian Dickens.
And now I've caught up in the Coolray victory lane with the number 39 here of Patrick Spangler. Patrick, this is John. You got a copy?
Yep, gotcha.
Well, I tell you, that was a drive for the ages coming through the field, and you did it mostly on the bottom. So first of all, you'll hear me say on the broadcast how I hate guys like you because you can do that. I wish I could do it. Can't do it. Can you tell everybody just how patient you have to be to do that on the bottom, keep the car wrapped right on the tires almost to make those passes and then come through the field like that?
I think it's just from racing here every week with the hometown heroes. It's all about the exits of 2 and 4. I mean, you can mess up the entries a little bit, but as long as you can get right next to those tires and get that power down the tacky, it just launches you like a rocket compared to if you're even like a half lane or a lane up. It's like there was one time it was like me and I think Willie Howes, and you could have stick a tire between us and the tire at the infield and the tire between me and him. Like we were that close, but just that little bit staying down, you'll just have a rocket ship coming off the bottom of the track.
Well, at what point did you once you started a little far back, but as you kind of working through, cautions were kind of falling your way. At what point were you like, okay, I got this? How far into the race did you feel that, or was it when you finally got the lead?
I'm usually I like this track a lot in 360 just because like it seems like when me and Blake run out here, we usually ones I can stay the lowest and just take off. So I knew as long as we got some green flag laps and I could just stake on the bottom, I could get up there. But then like you always have to worry about guys coming into the back of you because you're slowing up so much to hit the exit of turn 2. So Ross turned me the one time. I don't know how I got my spot back, but I gave him my spot back. Otherwise, I don't think I would be on the podium today. But I got lucky on that caution, and then we're just able to keep picking guys off. I could see on the lap times like I was like a tenth or two faster than the other guys. So I knew if I could get the green flag laps, I'd be able to have a chance at it.
Yeah, I'll admit I was surprised you got your spot back. So you can send your thank you cards to iRacing for that one. But honestly, Patrick, it looked like it was almost kind of a racing thing because I mean, just to kind of give you a point, I don't know if you went back and looked at it. Ross got into the corner pretty hot, but he didn't overdrive it, but he got to the center before you did, and it looked like actually you were kind of turning down to get that tack. That run that you're talking about out of the corner. And when you turned down, it looked like he just didn't anticipate that. And that's where the contact, it didn't look like anything intentional. He didn't overdrive and go in there and nail you, but still a bit of bad luck there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, no, I raced with Donovan a lot. I know he wouldn't need to do that. Just a tight track, and when you're hitting the bottom, you have to laugh a lot more than everybody expects that. But yeah, that was a fun race, and looking forward to next week.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, there's one more race tonight in the big blocks. You gonna try to pick up a second win here?
No, I think maybe I'll run, watch some movies with the wife for a little bit. So, but I'll be back on probably tomorrow for one of the mod races.
Well, congratulations on your win. If your wife is watching, tell her we said hi. And the floor is yours. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to you guys for putting on the awesome broadcast each week. Roger for running the league. Train Wheels Racing, Dad and Uncle back on watching, and the wife for letting me race.
Well, you got to at least say your name.
Yeah, Sarah.
Sarah. All right. See, there you go, Sarah. You got a shout out. And the wives, trust me, my wife, God bless her, she lets me do this a lot too. So we got to give the shout outs to the wives. So yeah, there you go. We hear her. So now she got a shout out and she's on there. So cool deal. And you guys have a good night watching your movies, and we'll see you back on the track when you get back out here.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yep. That is tonight's 360 winner, Patrick Spangler.
So our Salty Dogs Racing Team 360 Sprints comes to an end here on Coolray Hometown Heroes, John. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have our Big Block Modifieds presented by Magnum Race Designs. You're watching the Coast2Coast Racing League Network, and we are glad to have you here on Wednesday night. We will be back after this break.
Good day, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about Movember. So Movember was started in 2003 in Australia and has become worldwide. For those unfamiliar, Movember is all about awareness of health issues for men. So a lot of men grow mustaches in Movember. That's where the name came from. And just so you know, I plan on celebrating Movember by having my prostate hocked out. So first of all, the prognosis is good because of early detection. So, and as a result of that, I have decided to declare myself the Coast2Coast Racing League Movember poster child for 2022. On a more serious note here, the average age of our league is 41. So if you're on the top side of that, you need to get tested regularly. I'm talking PSA tests, the rubber glove, 2 seconds of discomfort for maybe a lifetime of living. Also, colonoscopies, every 5 or 10 years or whatever your doctor recommends, but you need to get those done. So just reminding everybody, it's something men aren't comfortable talking about or doing. Everybody thinks they're a tough guy. Let's go out and get tested for the sake of yourself, but more importantly, for the sake of your family. And, as they say, the life you save may be your own. So we're all in this together, guys. Reach out. You can reach out to me, or more importantly, reach out to your doctor. And in closing, I just want to, I want to know if Marty Sakala is going to grow a mustache for Movember.
In our industry.
The lifetime parts and labor warranty is pretty awesome. Basically, all the parts are covered, the labor and everything.
When we say lifetime, we mean lifetime, and it's supported with money-back guarantees. And with that, you're getting all qualified technicians that are going to ensure that this job is done perfectly and operates perfectly throughout the life of the unit.
Learn more about our Coolray lifetime parts and labor warranty at Coolray.com. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Speedway as Coolray Hometown Heroes continues. We have our big block modified division presented by Magnum Race Design. Looking at our big block point standings, Brian Lawson sits atop of the charts. Kurt Schatzer second, Brandon Templeton third, Jeffrey Barker fourth, and Joseph Grandy in fifth. And John, I have a fun fact that might surprise you. Brian Lawson leads the points by 1 over Kurt Schatzer, and he has yet to win this fall season here for the big blocks.
Well, that might not be a fun fact for Brian, but that's actually kind of surprising. Brian is a really good driver and capable of winning anytime he's on the track here. So I'm sure his time is coming. I'm sure he probably wishes it would have already has happened and probably happened more than one time. But, you know, the big prize is that points championship too. So, you know, now that's an interesting place to be. You're late in the season. Yeah, you haven't bagged that victory, but you're on top of the points. And I know, having been in tight points races myself, and you know, there comes a point in time you don't necessarily, at least I don't necessarily point watch early on the season. I just go out and do whatever, and you know, about that 10th, 11th week of the year, that's when I start paying attention and just kind of see where I'm at and see what I've got to do. And you know, then all of a sudden, being in his shoes, if he's watching that, you've got to think, okay, how aggressive? Do I want to go out there and get that win, or do I want to just make sure I'm gobbling up as many points as I can? That's kind of a tough decision to have to make, to be honest with you.
Well, our big block practice session continues. Brandon Templeton's atop the charts, not a surprise there, but very tight between Kurt Schatzer second fastest, and third fastest, Brian Lawson.
Yeah, all three of those guys are really tough. Brandon, we saw him make a incredible pass last week. I had a friend's row seat for that one. I was only a two cars behind them, whatever it was. But he just made a masterful last lap pass here to get the victory last week. And in Schatzer, you know, Kurt, I'm still amazed whenever I race around him. He's just gotten so good in such a short amount of time, and it's really impressive what he's accomplished too. He's two-time late model champion here for us, and just an all-around really great guy. And the three of them, you know, if they're top the board right now, I got a feeling we're going to see them battling all night.
A couple new names here as we move on to the big blocks that we haven't seen the rest of the evening. You've got Zach Chapman joining. He's one of your teammates there with Gambler Motorsports. Chris Steele, Joe Halter are among some of those new guys joining in for the big blocks. 13 cars have entered at the moment. We'll see if any more join us here before this practice session comes to a close and we get back to racing action here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Yeah, and Zach's a guy that anytime he enters in these cars, he's a threat to win. So he's going to be another guy you're going to want to watch. Looking through the field here, I mean, Chris Steele is here, a longtime competitor here in C2C. Jeff Sharp's here, Bob DeGood. I mean, Randy Shrees. I mean, we got 13 guys. Flero. I don't mean to kind of toot our own horn here at C2C, but I'm telling you, any one of these guys, Grandy, all of them, I think, are capable of winning here tonight.
Well, and our practice session is coming to a close. That means we will move on to our ABR Setup Shop qualifying session. John, I just realized there's an NFL game on tonight, and it may feature your lovable Cowboys.
What?
Is that? Oh, sorry, never mind. It's a replay. I just saw it pop up on my screen, and I was like, "Wait, it's Thursday night."
I was about to say, well, you got this one on your own, right? I was about to get off. Say, see ya.
No losses for your Cowboys tonight here on Wednesday night. I was like, wait, the broadcast on Thursday night last week's thrown me off. Where I feel like tomorrow is Friday now, and unfortunately, we've still got a couple more days left this week.
Yeah, we sure do, and Yeah, is it me or is it hard to believe that it's freaking November already?
Nope, next week's Thanksgiving. I've confirmed that,
Yeah.
and it has gone by quickly. And you've got to think it's going to be 2023 here before we know it. But looking at the fast times, Kurt Schatzer in that 2:18 shot to the top of the charts. Not a surprise there. Templeton currently sitting 7th fastest, and Shreve's down there in 11th. But like we've talked about all night, that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, as that could help you in your heat race, as they are inverted. As Brian Lawson will move up to 2nd with his first lap. He is the final car to go.
Yeah, and you look here, everybody with the exception of Shreves and Flaro down there, which they probably just chose the wrong line. Everybody's within a tenth and a half. That's not a lot of time. In these cars, the one thing about them is they are very line sensitive. Um, if you're right down on the tires, you'll turn a lap, but if you go a half a lane up, literally just a half a lane, not a full lane, but a half a lane up, you could pick up a tenth. It's just these cars are just really temperamental in the corners, and you can gain a lot of speed, you can lose a lot of speed, also.
Well, with that, Kurt Schatzer is going to be our quick time here tonight. And our first heat race presented by Langton Mechanical is about to get underway. And John, you've got our starting lineup.
I sure do here, and looking at the lineup, it's going to go like this. On the pole is going to be the 513. That's Jeff Barker. Starting to his outside, it's got to be the 69. Definitely last race's hard luck, I think, winner. I think that'd be fair. That's going to be the number 69 of Aiden Young. Second row is going to have Jeff Sharp starting third, and fourth will be our quick qualifier of the night and one of our championship contenders. That is going to be the 218 of Kurt Schatzer. Starting fifth will be the 518 of Joseph Grandy. Next to him will be the number 80 of Chris Steele. Rounding out your field tonight in the number 200, that's going to be Jeff Flaro.
So Aiden Young, Jeffrey Barker will lead us to green. They follow the Steve King Foundation pace truck around. As our Big Block Modified is going to get to racing action for the first time tonight. This, of course, will set that lineup for the inside row of our 30-lap feature event.
And real quick to anybody watching, you can see the cars bobbling around. If you don't have iRacing, you think, oh my God, these guys are, a little sketchy here. I'm telling you, from the wheel, these cars bounce around just like that. Those drivers are feeling it in the steering wheel.
So they will come out of turn number 4. Green flag will wave on our first heat of the night. Here for the Big Block Modified, side by side throughout the corners. As Barker will pull up ahead, but there is 4 cars under a blanket there in the top 4 spots. 3 wide for second out of 4.
Yeah, and there's still 3 wide now coming out of turn 2 down the back straightaway here, and I tell you, none of those 3 want to give. It's like the guy on the bottom has a good run into the corner, and then Aiden up on the top has got a good run coming out of the corner, and looks like the 218 there of Schatzer is kind of like, I'm tired of being the meat in the middle here, and is backed out a little bit.
But Aiden Young continues to use that outside line. He's got Sharp to his inside. 3 laps to go for Jeffrey Barker up ahead of him. One thing with these Big Block Modifieds, John, getting those runs and really separating from each other is a lot harder to do in one of these than one of those sprints we just watched.
Yes, much harder, and which is weird because, like I said, they're so temperamental, and you can gain and lose so much speed through the corners here. But for whatever reason, we got different guys involved here. The racing with these are just outstanding. Some of our biggest fields in C2C come right here out of this division.
And for the final time through 3 and 4, it's going to be Jeffrey Barker, your heat race number 1 winner. Jeff Sharp second, Aiden Young fourth, and Kurt Schatzer will round out. It looks like Kurt got Aiden at the line.
Wow.
So with that, we will move on to our heat race number 2 presented by Magnum Race Design. And you've got our starting lineup.
I do. On the pole is going to be the number 31, Brandon Templeton. Next to him will be the number 7 of Odd to Good. Starting in the inside row, number 2 will be the number 22 of Joe Halter. And our current point leader is going to start 4th. That is the number 9 of Brian Lawson. Starting in 5th is going to be the number 72. That's Zach Chapman. And to his outside, I do believe my correct here is trying to make it 3 for 3 tonight for podiums. That's 56 of Randy Shreves.
It would be 3 for 3 tonight for Randy. Looks like he's going to want to gain some spots here in this heat race to try to better his starting spot in that 30-lap feature, which will come up next here for our Magnum Race Design Big Block Modified Division. So the Stephen King Foundation pace truck will pull on off of turn number 2 this time by. It's going to be Brandon Templeton, Bob DeGood leading us to green.
It's going to be neat when they take this green and get down to turn 1. I can't wait to see the different lines guys take. I wonder if we'll see 3 wide again.
As you can see, Lawson trying to make it 3 wide before we get to green here. As the green flag will wave, he'll look to the middle early going into number 1. And that 3 wide action is going as Zach Chapman and Joe Halter make contact.
Yeah, and any questions if Lawson is points racing or racing for wins just got answered.
Well, he's going to try to get up there to the front.
That's right.
He's got Templeton in front of him. That was the battle last Wednesday night. And Lawson's looking to come out on top this week.
Yeah, when you're trying to make it 3 wide, coming to the green flag, usually that means, hey, you're on it tonight. And, well, what a way to set a tone.
So Bob DeGood, Randy Shreves continue to battle for that 3rd position. Shreves will have it this time at the line. It's still Templeton out front. He's got Brian Lawson behind him. 3 laps to go here in heat race number 2.
Yeah, after that contact between Halter and Chapman here, the big winner on that was Shreves. He's from 6th to 3rd here.
Yeah, starting in that outside row number 3 is definitely better than further back in the pack. As this time coming out of 4, it's going to be Templeton getting the white flag. 1 more lap here in heat race number 2 for Templeton.
Then again, we did see Spangler come from the back, so what do we know?
It can be done.
Yes, it can be done. And Zach, I tell you, Zach's going to be in the back here. It looks like he's a guy that can do it, so it'll be fun watching him come up through the pack.
And heat race number 2 will go to Templeton as we will move on to our Flatline Racing Bodies intermission. And yeah, to your point, Zach Chapman will start there at the back. But we'll see who from the back could move up here with 30 laps and our feature event on the line. Our 3rd and final feature of tonight's Cool Ray Hometown Heroes. As drivers make their way out on the track, John, can you kind of walk us through when you have these intermission sessions here before the feature event? What are you working on and trying to straighten out before the feature?
Well, I have my my relative screen. You know, I can pull up the lap numbers and I can see my speeds and everything else on the lap. And I'm moving around. I'll usually come out and try to rip the lip on the top both times. Look at what the lap time is, then maybe move down the middle lane, run the middle, see what the lap time is, then go to the bottom, see what the lap time is, and try to run a slider line to see what, to gauge, okay, how much am I scrubbing? Now, obviously the track will change, but you kind of want to get a feel, get an idea of how much, your speed you're going to scrub. And I look at those lap times and try to adjust accordingly and then figure out, okay, this is a faster lane. This is where I felt better. Running the bottom, if I feel like, wow, I got a much better launch coming out of 2, that's going to decide early on in the race where I'm going. Now, the thing we love about dirt is the track is going to continually change, so you've got to chase it. But you can definitely set yourself up for what you're going to do the first half of the race and figure out where you're going to go and where you think you're going to be best suited to make up ground. Or if you're out front, where you're going to run to be able to stretch your lead.
10 cars have made their way out there for this session. Zach Chapman, who we were just talking about starting at the pack in the back, second fastest time here between Templeton and Lawson.
Yeah, like I said, Zach's fast in these cars, and he's got 30 laps to get it done, and he, like I said, Zach's fully capable of pulling a Spangler here and being up here towards the front of this. I think he's going to have some cautions, just like what Spangler did. I think he's going to have some cautions fall his way. But yeah, I think not only he, but Joseph Grandy's back there too. Grandy's another guy that I think can come up, if he gets the cautions the right way, stays out of trouble. He could very well be up towards the front before the end of this. But, just as I felt earlier, I think they're going to have the work cut out for him, when you got a hot shot up front, and this time we do. We got Templeton up there. That's going to be some tough sledding for guys.
Randy Shreve's out there on the track as well. He's someone to be reckoned with. Templeton, Lawson, Aiden Young's made some laps during this Flatline Racing Bodies intermission, which is now coming to an end with the checkered flag waving.
And all the guys you just mentioned, they're all capable of winning. I mean, that's the incredible thing here for this group.
Well, and that group will now start to get lined up here on the front stretch, and that moves us on to our Super Dirt Car Series starting lineup.
And on the pole for the big main event here is going to be the 513. That is going to be Jeff Barker. To his outside will be the number 31 of Brandon Templeton. Starting inside the second row will be the number 28. That's Jeff Sharp. To his outside will be the number 9, our point leader, Brian Lawson, starting in 4th position here. Starting in 5th will be the 218 of Kurt Schatzer. He'll be followed by Randy Shreves, who will start 6th to his outside. Starting in the 7th spot and the inside of row number 4, that's going to be Aiden Young in the 69. His outside is going to be the number 7 of Bob the Good. He is going to be, like I said, the number 7. He'll be starting in 8th. Starting in 9th on the inside of row number 5 is going to be Chris Steele. To his outside will be the number 22, Joel Halter. Then we got, I think, a row to watch. It's got to be row number 6 here. Starting 11th will be the 518 of Joseph Grandy. To his outside will be the number 72 of Zach Chapman. And then starting out shotgun on the field, that's going to be the 200 there of Jeff Flero.
So they are lined up, ready to go. It'll be 30 laps as the Stephen King Foundation Pace truck will move on off the track. And we will have our Magnum Race Design Big Block Modified Feature event here from Lucas Oil Speedway. Another great Coolray Hometown Heroes night here on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network. And they come out of turn number 4 for the final time for the green flag feature event. 30 laps underway here at Lucas Oil Speedway. It's Barker, Templeton side by side. Behind him you got Sharp and Lawson battling, as well as it's going to be Barker with the edge going into turn number 3.
Yeah, and side by side all the way back through the pack here. Everybody looks like early on they're going to have to root and gouge. It looks just from the first lap, the top and the bottom, pretty equal, but they're almost 3 wide now for the lead, Travis.
Continue to battle for the lead as it's Templeton with the edge. He'll lead this lap coming out of turn number 4. Barker will fall in line. He's got Sharp to his inside. And now Schatzer's moved up. He's currently in 5th, but looking to move up into 4th as he battles Brian Lawson, as Shreves will come to his outside.
Yeah, what a battle here up towards the front here. These guys are really not giving each other a lot of room, just giving each other just enough room to get around these corners, let them get their cars rotated. And they're just right there, nose to tail from second on back. Templeton's kind of stepped out while these guys are battling. It's giving Templeton, a few car length lead here.
Great 5-car battle here for second, as you've got Sharp to the inside. The other 4 are trying to go around his outside or through the middle. Shreves uses up Lawson as much as he can there. They still are trying to get around Sharp and wait for a lane to open. 25 laps to go. And while they battle for this position, it's Templeton starting to pull away out front.
Yeah, and I just cannot. I got my eyes just locked on that number 9 there of Lawson. I've seen him think about 3 wide, but he's just not pulling the trigger down there in 3 and 4 because Barker's taking that middle lane away. And I do think Lawson I like to see Lawson get around there. I'd be neat to see what kind of pace he has as opposed to the 31 there of Templeton.
He drives in hard to turn number 3 there. He'll have to check up as he goes right to the bumper of Barker. Still unable to clear Sharpie. Inches forward, though. This might be the lap that he'll be able to clear that 28 and give him some opportunities of lanes to try to move past Barker.
Yeah, if he can get ahead of him, he can maybe go for that bottom lane and get Barker to go. There he goes.
They're 3 wide. Sharp will slide up. He'll get into Aiden Young. Aiden Young jumps over that inside tire, and that will bring out our first caution of the night.
Yeah, and that's going to be a case where Lawson got in there and kind of had to check up just a little bit to not make contact with Barker. But when you're that close together, one guy checks up like that, and it's not any fault of Brian's there. He was doing the right thing by not trying to turn another car. But if somebody just barely gets off of it, the guy behind him, nowhere to go. Well, these things don't have tail lights on their car, so you can't see somebody grab that brake pedal. And that's just a product of really, really close racing.
Unfortunately, that's going to move Aiden Young and Jeff Sharp to the tail end of the field here.
Oh, Aiden's luck just continues.
Just not his Wednesday night here. But up front, it's Brandon Templeton continues to lead. Now with this caution resetting everything, it's going to be interesting to see if Barker lost.
Oh, and Aiden's night just got worse. He clips the wall going into pit road and turtles it and now has to tow. Oh, my goodness.
We'll bring up that replay and see what happened.
Like I said, Aiden's a teammate, so we're in, we communicate a lot during races, and I promise you that young man right now is livid. Not that anybody's done him wrong, but just probably beyond frustrated at this point, which I would be too.
It's one of those things where your night gets bad, and then it just compounds.
Yeah, and he's loaded it up. He's had enough. He's throwing the towel in. I would too.
Back to green flag action with a Mission 22 restart. Aiden Young is dropped out, but up front it's Templeton able to separate from Barker as now Barker, Lawson, and Shreves continue that battle for second. And now look, Grandy and Schatzer look to join them.
Yeah, Grandy is the one that started back there, that row I told you to watch out for, that row 6 with him and Zach. And they are both actually kind of moving up. Zach's kind of behind Grandy. They got Chris Steele between them. But the battle, again, it looks like it's going to shape up to be that second, third, fourth between Lawson, Shreves, and Schatzer there, with Barker right up in front of them.
Lawson now gets a nose alongside Barker as they go down the front stretch. He's going to have momentum to the outside there as Barker tries to battle back on the inside. Shreves is following Lawson through, and right behind him he's got Kurt Schatzer. So if Barker's not careful, he could have a train to his outside here and lose some positions.
I think so. And you remember the interviews we did last week where everybody kind of felt like the track just kind of switched with the caution? It was, you had lanes 1 second, then the next you didn't have any. It became one lane. That's almost has that look here. That the caution came, and all of a sudden, it looks like the fast line around is up top.
Everyone's moved on as now Schatzer's moved by Barker. Grandy's now moved by Barker, and now Barker's able to slide back up into that outside lane as he falls into that 6th position. And now they're single file all the way around that outside line, John. 14 laps to go. We'll be able to see if Lawson and them can close that gap on Templeton. As Schatzer tries to look to the inside, nothing there. He'll fall back in line.
Kurt's not afraid to move around and try. I think he's one of those guys that have that mentality. If I sit here and just follow you guys, well, guess what? I'm going to fit. Oh, Templeton went off, got up over the shelf.
He got up on that flat part in 1 and 2. That'll open the door for Lawson. He continues to close that gap as it's now under 4/10. And now Templeton has come back to them here as his rhythm gets shifted with that mistake in 1 and 2.
Yeah, not only does that mess your rhythm up, then all of a sudden going in there the next time around, you're questioning how hard can you set it in, and it'll take you a lap or two to get comfortable. to do it, and hopefully he doesn't make it again, because if he makes that mistake again, Lawson's going to take the lead.
Lawson continues to try to track him down. If you watch, Lawson's almost semi-diamonding that corner in 1 and 2, John, really coming off that corner that last time, about a lane lower than Templeton. What's moving around there trying to do as he closes that gap on Templeton?
Well, there is some banking here. When you do that, two things you do. You end up straightening your car up for the straightaway a lot quicker. And when you do it, that allows you to get a little better of a launch, and you're not sideways. Because when you're sideways and you're messing around with the gas pedal, it's easy to spin the tires. And then with that banking, you're rolling down that banking. Believe it or not, a little bit of banking will help you pick up a little speed too. Just like if you're on a bicycle and you get a little hill or something, and all of a sudden you pick up speed rolling down that hill. No different on a racetrack.
So currently riding along with Brian Lawson as Schatzer's moved past Shreves. That's for 3rd position. Lawson continues to try to track down Templeton, but Templeton leads. It's going to be 5 laps to go here in the Big Block Modified Feature event at Lucas Oil Speedway. And Templeton stretched his lead back out to about 7/10 over Lawson. As Schatzer is now in 3rd, they've really spread out after some tight racing early in this race.
Yeah, and Lawson, they're seeming to lose just a little bit of ground there, but at least he doesn't have to defend now. And the real battle now is from between Schatzer, Shreves, and Grandy here for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot.
So Templeton continues to lead with 3 laps to go. 2 laps to go this by here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Lawson settled into 2nd. The 3 behind them have settled down now with 2 laps to go. Lawson's time to get up to Templeton is running out.
Yeah, it sure is here. And then Templeton just needs to make sure he doesn't go up on that shelf. As long as he doesn't do that, I think he's going to be in good shape here.
White flag waves for Brandon Templeton. He leads Lawson, looking to pick up another victory here in the Big Block Modifieds. It will be Brandon Templeton's 4th win of the fall season. As he comes out of turn number 4, he will win. 2nd, Brian Lawson. 3rd, Kurt Schatzer. 4th, Randy Shreves.
What a battle there. What a nice race.
Fun race to watch. You can see Jeff Sharp rebounded for a 10th place finish after his incident. Zach Chapman, John, someone you talked about, ends up with a 6th place finish here tonight.
Yeah, Zach just had a lot of traffic. And when you got a field of all really good drivers, because like I said, I think pretty much the entire field was capable of winning. You just don't get to slice and dice through the field. You've got to root and gouge for everything here.
So we'll wait for our top 3 finishers to join us up here in the booth from Coolray Victory Lane. As it's going to be Brandon Templeton winning your Magnum Race Design Big Block Modified Feature event.
A good night of racing altogether, though. I will say that. I think we had 3 really good races here tonight.
Great Coolray hometown heroes, John. And now joining us from the podium is the 3rd place finisher. It's the 218 of Kurt Schatzer.
Yeah, Kurt, this is John. You have a copy?
Yeah, I hear you there, John.
Hey, Kurt, I see you lighting up, but do not hear you. You don't hear him, do you, Travis?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
We got you. Yep, now we got you.
All right, just let me know if you can't hear me.
I've got you. Well, man, I tell you, 3rd place finish. You kind of had to root and gouge your way to get up through the field there, and that looked like a fun race.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun there. I hope it didn't look like a whole lot of rooting and gouge, and I feel like me and Randy there, we had a good race there going back and forth with a few slide jobs. Just had to use a little bit of patience and let the track come to me a little bit.
Yeah, when I say rooting and gouging, I mean just kind of clawing your way. I mean, everybody was so even, and it made it a blast to watch because nobody had a big advantage, over anybody else. We saw Spangler in the previous race kind of slice and dice up through the field. This whole field was almost evenly matched, so we were kind of watching it. It looked fun, and what more did you need to maybe get out there and maybe get around Lawson for second and get up there and not go Brandon off the top spot?
Well, I mean, I guess I just got to start up a little front there, get a little better run in the heat race and start up front a little closer to them. Just had to use a little bit of patience to get my way up there. And by the time I finally got there, they were a little bit strung, a little bit, out there a little bit. I just needed a caution maybe to reel them back in. But all in all, I mean, it was a good run. I'm just chasing the points now. I think it's all three of us are right now top three in points. So it was a good one, I guess.
I think what you need to do is start with Joe and go to Joe and tell him to be putting old tires on his and on Brandon's car, and
Yeah.
then I think that, I know Joe, he's not above I think taking $100 to do it either. So yeah, but cool. It's a good night here for actually you guys being teammates and whatnot. Very cool to see both y'all up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon, he's one of the best when it comes to the modified. So I'm just learning from him.
Well, I tell you, you two have. I still marvel on how much improvement you guys have shown, and now I actually think you guys are. Whenever I see you guys in a race room, I think you guys are two of the guys to beat. So, my hats off to all the hard work you guys have put in to improve. And man, I can't wait to see you come back next week and put on a show for us again. But having said that, who would you like to give a shout out to for your third place finish?
Yeah, the sponsors, Dirt Track Bank, they do a lot for us, the team, and dirt track racing around the country. Got Your Six Racing Network, VMR Wraps. Yeah, everybody watching at home, you guys putting in the time doing the broadcast. We appreciate it, watching it back and everything. The team, Brandon, Brian, Joe Halter, everybody that makes it fun, worthwhile. Appreciate it all.
Oh, congratulations again, Kurt, and hopefully we see you tomorrow night back here with the late models. And I forgot what all we run tomorrow, but I know we run several.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yep, see you tomorrow.
Awesome. Yep, awesome. That's Kurt Schatzer, our third place finisher in our big block modified division here tonight.
Now joining us, our second place finisher, it's number 9 of Brian Lawson. Brian, a great run for you tonight. Just Templeton had a little too much late there. When he made that bobble in turn 1 and 2, did you feel like that was your chance to try to make up some ground and pass him for the lead?
Well, it's kind of funny. I was just telling him, I said, you made that one mistake. I needed you to make one more, because that cut his lead about in half. And I think if he had made one more, but, I didn't expect him to. He's tough. He's consistent. He knows what he's doing. So, I tried a few things, tried pushing harder and wound up making myself slower, tried the bottom line, didn't seem to have anything down there. So for, I think, the fourth week in a row, I'll settle for second and be happy about it.
Could you kind of walk us through there early to middle of the race when you were racing Jeff Sharp, Schatzer, Shreves for that second through fifth position? You kind of got marred back there on that outside second in row there. What was that like as you guys battled for about 8 to 10 laps?
Yeah, it got a little rough. I think I made a few mistakes. I was struggling trying to get by Jeff Barker. He was kind of running in the middle and wasn't giving me quite enough outside, and he was coming down enough where I didn't want to dive it down. And he bobbled coming off of 2 one time, and I dove it down in there, and he came down. I had to check up. Somebody got into the back of me, so we got bunched up a little bit. But other than that, it was pretty eventful, or uneventful, I should say.
And then late in the run, we saw you kind of, when you would come off 2, it was like you were trying to come off of 2, maybe half a lane to a lane below what Templeton was doing. Was that strategy? Was that what your car was wanting to do? Or was that you just trying to make a last-ditch effort to try to gain whatever you could?
Yeah, pretty much all the above, I mean, that was just something I was trying, something that he wasn't doing, he was kind of sticking to that high line all the way around. And like I said, I went down low and didn't seem like there was anything down there. So that's when I went back up top and tried cutting the corner coming off, which, helped if I got it right, but I don't think I hit it right every time either. So.
Well, it was a great run. Like you said, another great second place finish for you, Brian. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Absolutely. Got to thank you guys for the broadcast, Coast2Coast Racing League for all they do. Magnum Race Design. Anybody needs a wrap, hit us up on Facebook. Super Dirt Car Series, Gears Unlimited, and my guys at Venom Racing. Appreciate everything they do.
Great run, Brian. We'll see you again next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's your second place finisher, the number 9 of Brian Lawson. Now joining John in Coolray Victory Lane, it's your winner, the 31 of Brandon Templeton.
Well, Brandon Templeton gets out front and never looks back here. Brandon, nice race here tonight. Tell me, how much did that get your attention when you jumped up over that shelf there in 1 and 2?
My heart definitely skipped a beat there. My left front came up so far, I was afraid I was going to roll it. I've seen a few guys do that, and just hanging on to it, trying not to overcorrect and let it roll. But yeah, from then on, I was clear sailing, being a little safer.
Well, as a driver who has made more than my share of mistakes and probably your share of mistakes and probably 3 or 4 other guys, well, I know when I've done something like that, my next time through there is probably every bit as scary as when the actual thing happened. What do you do as a driver? You just went over the edge there. You're barreling down the front straightaway, and here it comes again. Do you do anything different? What is your mindset as you approach that corner?
Well, I was kind of attacking it before when I went over, and I was going into it harder and harder and just found the edge. And so it was pretty easy to just back it off to what I'd been doing every other lap before that. So lesson learned.
Well, fair enough, man. Dominating performance. Like I said, you got out front and didn't look back. There was quite a spirited battle behind you. I don't know if you run a mirror or not, but if you do, you probably would have had a nice view of cars every which way behind you there. And did you ever feel, other than the restart, did you ever feel like anybody was coming up on you, or did you feel pressure, or were you just focused forward?
Well, Brian was definitely getting, peeks inside of me there, here and there, and I was able to kind of pull him off on the straightaway eventually. But it was a little bit, guessing when that line's going to change on that track, and had a little bit of help again this week from Kurt, my teammate, saying, he thought maybe the bottom in 1 and 2 was gone after a restart. So went to the top after the first lap, and from then on, I think he was right. It was a little quicker.
Yeah, last week I kind of felt like the track change. It was like a yellow flag, and it was like somebody flipped the light. When we went back green, it was the track had changed. I mean, it went from like what you were saying, bottom to all of a sudden the top was there. Is that how it felt tonight? I mean, was it that quick, or was it just did you kind of feel it kind of going away, or like I said, was it that quick?
Yeah, they were pretty even. I think that caution was just the chance that he was able to tell me that, and a chance to set it up. But just kind of stuck to the bottom on the first corner just to protect Brian and from a slider or something. And then from then on, it went back to that top and started getting similar lap times, so stuck with it.
Well, I tell you, your teammate, you got 2 out of the 3. You need to get Brian in here. But if Brian was here, maybe you guys could have had a little sweep. Brian ran a little bit earlier, didn't run. You got to get him in here. See if you guys can sweep the podium. But good run for you and your teammate, taking 2 out of the top 3. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
I got to thank Dirt Track Bank, Malvern Bank there in Malvern, Iowa. Check them out, dirttrackbank.com. Everything they're doing, helping out real drivers with haulers, everything, bills, tires, whatever, helping us out here in the iRacing world. So love that and love the support. Thanks to him. Got Your Six Racing Network, Hammer Down Racing Team, Joe, Kurt, and Brian, like we mentioned, VMR E-Wraps, Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care. You guys for doing the broadcast, Travis for announcing and everything, and everyone helping at home or helping behind the scenes.
Well, awesome, man. Congratulations on yet another victory. And I got a feeling we'll see you again tomorrow, right?
I think so. Got a basketball game to attend, but I'll mosey in at some point.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you then. Have a good evening. That is our big 350 big block winner. That's Brandon Templeton.
Well, John, it was another great 3-race program for the Coolray Hometown Heroes tonight. A lot of fun, as always, on the call with you here for the Coast2Coast Racing League Network. We'll be back in action tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in for all of that. Coolray Hometown Heroes will return again next week on Wednesday. But other than that, John, it was a great night of racing. Nice chatting with you and joining you from the track again tonight. And we will see you at a racetrack again soon, race fans.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme eSpeed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme eSpeed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.